I'm V. Sirisha, Associate Professor, Government City College. Today's topic is from Financial Statement Analysis. Topic is Ratio Analysis. So, what are the techniques of financial statement analysis? We have 9 methods or important tools of financial statement analysis. They are comparative statement analysis, common size statement, trend ratio analysis, average analysis, statement of changes in working capital, funds flow analysis, cash flow analysis, ratio analysis, cost volume profit analysis. So today's topic I am going to teach you is about ratio analysis. Coming to what is ratio analysis. Ratio analysis is a quantitative method of gaining insight into a company's liquidity, operational efficiency, and profitability by studying its financial statements, such as the balance sheet and income statement. Ratio analysis is a cornerstone of fundamental equity analysis. Here, ratio analysis is the technique of interpretation of financial statements with the help of various meaningful ratios. Ratios do not add to any information that is already available, but they show the relationship between two items in a more meaningful way. So, investors and analysts employ ratio analysis to evaluate the financial health of companies by scrutinizing past and current financial statements. Comparative data can demonstrate how a company is performing over time and can be used to estimate likely future performance. This data can also compare a company's financial standing with industry averages while measuring how a company stacks up against others within the same sector. Investors can use ratio analysis easily, and every figure needed to calculate the ratios is found on a company's financial statements. Ratios are comparison points for companies. They evaluate stocks within an industry. Likewise, they measure a company today against its historical numbers. In most cases, it is also important to understand the variables driving ratios, as management has the flexibility to, at times, alter its strategy to make its stock and company ratios more attractive. Generally, ratios are typically not used to isolation but rather in combination with other ratios. Having a good idea of the ratios in each of the 4 previously mentioned categories will give you a comprehensive view of the company from different angles and help you spot potential red flags. Coming to the classification of ratios. Ratios have been classified into 5 methods. First one is traditional classification. Second, functional classification. Third is classification according to the importance, and classification according to time, classification on the basis of time, and the fifth one is classification on the basis of usage. Coming to the classification according to the traditional, here traditional classification of ratios is done on the basis of the financial statements, from which the figures used for calculation are taken. The ratios are classified as balance sheet ratios, profit and loss account ratios, and mixed ratios. Balance sheet ratios are ratios where the numerator and denominator can be taken from the balance sheet. Current ratio is an example of balance sheet ratio. Similarly, if both numerator and denominator can be taken from the statement of P&L account, profit and loss, such ratios are profit and loss account ratios. Net profit ratio is one of the example. If one figure is taken from statement of profit and loss and the other from balance sheet, then such ratios is known to be as mixed ratio. Example is return on net worth of mixed ratios. So now coming to the here we have traditional ratios have been classified into three, that is balance sheet ratios, income statement ratios and interstatement ratio. We can call it as mixed ratios. Now coming to the traditional classification. So here representation of balance sheet ratios. Balance sheet ratios can be classified into four, that is current ratio, quick ratio, proprietary ratio, debt equity ratio. Income statement ratio, that is from profit and loss, statement of profit and loss, they are classified into four, that is gross profit ratio, operating cost ratio, operating profit ratio, net profit ratio. Coming to the mixed ratio, that is interstatement ratio, they are return on investment, trade receivables turnover ratio, trade payables turnover ratio, fixed assets turnover ratio. So these are the classification according to the traditional method. Now coming to the again the explanation regarding the traditional classification. The different subdivisions are balance sheet ratios. These ratios are also called as financial ratios. The components are items for computation of these ratios are drawn from the balance sheet. Here these ratios for example are current ratio. Items used for computation are current assets and current liabilities. Debt equity ratio, items are used are long-term debts and shareholders funds. Then coming to profit and loss account ratios, these are also called as operating ratio. The items used for the calculation of these ratios are taken from the income statement, that is trading and profit and loss account. Examples for that is gross profit ratio, net profit ratio, operating ratio, etc. And now coming to the interstatement ratio or combined ratio or mixed ratio, we can call it as. Here required for the computation of these ratios is normally drawn from both balance sheet and trading and profit and loss account. Examples are debtors turnover ratio, that is debtors is from balance sheet and credit sales are trading account. Stock turnover ratio, stock is from balance sheet and cost of sales is from trading account. So these are mixed ratio. This is about the traditional classification. Now coming to the second classification according to the functional classification. So functional classification of ratios is based on the purpose. That is, ratios are classified into liquidity or short-term liquidity or short-term solvency ratios, and leverage, capital structure or long-term solvency ratios, and turnover, activity or performance ratios, and profitability ratios. Liquidity ratios test the liquidity of the business. In other words, they measure the ability of the business to repay its short-term liabilities out of short-term assets. Current ratios and quick ratios are the examples of liquidity ratio. Similarly, leverage or solvency ratio ratios evaluate the ability of the firm to remain solvent over the long term. Debt equity ratio is an example of leverage ratio. Activity ratio or efficiency ratio measure the efficiency of operations of the organization. Stock turnover ratio and receivables turnover ratio are the examples of these ratios. And profitability ratio indicate the profitability of the business. For example, includes gross profit ratio, return on capital employed, etc. So earnings ratios indicates the return to the owners of or shareholders of the business. Earnings per share, dividend payout ratio are the examples of earnings ratios. So this is the most widely accepted classification of ratios according to the functional. Now coming to the graphical representation of functional ratios. Here functional ratios are classified into 4 groups, that is liquidity ratio, long term solvency ratio, turnover ratios and profitability ratios. Liquidity ratios have been classified into current ratios, or we can call it as working capital ratios, and quick ratios. So current ratio is the ratio of current assets to current liabilities. We have understood the meaning of the terms current assets and current liabilities. Here explaining about the current assets are the assets that are expected to be realized in cash or sold or consumed during the normal operating cycle of the business, or 1 year, whichever is longer. So they include cash in hand, cash at bank, bills receivables, net sundry debtors, stock of raw materials, finished goods and work in progress, prepaid expenses, outstanding incomes, accrued incomes, and short term or temporary or current investment, loose tools and stores and spares, although include under inventories as part of current assets in the balance sheet, is not taken as a current asset for the purpose of calculating this ratio. So current liabilities are liabilities that are to be repaid within a period of 1 year. They include bills payable, sundry creditors, bills payable, bank overdraft, outstanding expenses, income received in advance, proposed dividend, provision of taxation, unclaimed dividends and short-term loans and advances repayable within 1 year. Any installment of a long-term liability payable within the next 12 months is also a current liability. So current ratio is equal to current assets divided by current liabilities. Now coming to the quick ratio. Quick ratio is a quick ratio is a ratio of quick assets to quick liabilities. Quick assets are assets that can be converted into cash very quickly without much loss. Quick liabilities are the liabilities which have to be necessarily paid within 1 year. All current assets except stock and prepaid expenses are also quick assets. All current liabilities except bank overdraft are quick liabilities. So now quick ratio is equal to quick assets by quick liabilities. Quick assets is equal to current assets minus stock plus prepaid expenses. Quick liabilities is equal to current liabilities minus bank overdraft. So this is the formula for the calculation of quick assets and quick liabilities. Bank overdraft is not treated as quick liability as it is usually a permanent arrangement of a business with the bank. However, even bank overdraft in its pure form is quick liability. As such, quick ratio is popularly calculated as quick assets divided by current liabilities. Now, coming to the Coming to the debt equity ratio. What is debt equity ratio? So here long term solvency ratios have been classified into debt equity ratio, proprietary ratio, and capital gearing ratio. So what do we mean by debt equity ratio? Here debt and equity ratio is nothing but it reflects the relative claim of outsiders, that is providers of debt, and relative claim of outsiders and owners are the shareholders, against the assets of the business. Debt usually refers to long term liabilities. Equity includes equity and preference share capital and reserves. So debt equity ratio is equal to long term debt divided by shareholders funds. So coming to the proprietary ratio. What do we mean by proprietary ratio? It expresses the relationship between net worth and total assets. A high proprietary ratio is indicative of strong financial position of the business. The higher the ratio, the better it is. Proprietary ratio is equal to net worth divided by total assets. Net worth is equal to equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves plus undistributed profits minus fictitious assets. Total assets is equal to non-current assets plus current assets. So like this we will be calculating the proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio looks at debt equity ratio slightly differently. It looks at how much claim do the shareholders have on the assets of the organization. Now coming to the capital gearing ratio. So it is calculated as funds bearing fixed interest and fixed dividend divided by equity shareholders funds. Funds bearing fixed interest and fixed dividend is nothing but debentures plus term loans plus preference share capital. Equity shareholders funds is equal to equity share capital plus reserves minus fictitious assets. A company is said to be highly geared if it has a high capital gearing ratio and low geared if the capital gearing ratio is low. The extent of gearing determines the future financial structure of the business. A company that is highly geared will have to raise funds by issuing fresh equity shares, whereas a low gearing company would find it attractive to raise funds by way of term loans and debentures. Thus, this ratio is studied in the reverse. It is defined as equity shareholders funds or funds bearing fixed interest and fixed dividend. Now coming to the fixed assets ratio. So fixed assets ratio, it is calculated by net fixed assets divided by capital employed. Coming to the stock turnover ratio. Here turnover ratios have been classified as stock turnover ratio, trade receivables turnover ratio, trade payables turnover ratio, fixed assets turnover ratio. In detail we will do it in the further classes. And profitability ratios have been classified into gross profit ratio, operating cost ratio, operating profit ratio, net profit ratio, return on investment. Now coming to the classification on the basis of importance. Here classification on the basis of importance or significance, the ratios are classified as primary ratios and secondary ratio. The most important ratios are called the primary ratios, and less important ratios are called the secondary ratio. Secondary ratios are usually used to explain the primary ratios. For example, primary ratios of a commercial undertaking are return on capital employed ratio and net profit ratio, because the basic purpose of these undertakings is to earn profit. Importance of ratios significantly varies among the industries. Therefore, each industry has its own primary and secondary ratios. A ratio that is of primary importance is one industry may be of secondary importance in another industry. So, classification of ratios on the basis of importance or significance is very useful for inter-firm comparison. So, one more time I'll explain the classification on the basis of ratios. Ratios are classified as primary and secondary or supporting ratios. Primary ratios are more important for the purpose of analysis and interpretation, and the other ratios that support or explain the primary ratios are called the secondary ratios. For example, return on capital employed is a primary ratio, while operating profit ratio is a secondary ratio. Once again, the primary ratios, the prime motive of the primary ratios, any of business undertaking is profit, and therefore ratios like profit to sales, return on capital employed may be termed as primary ratios. Secondary ratios mainly used to explain the primary ratios. They are also known as subsidiary or supporting ratios. So, taking the ratios, that is of return on capital employed as the primary ratio, the following ratios may be grouped as secondary ratio, that is profit and earnings ratio, cost or expense ratio, capital and related ratios, and turnover ratio. So, these will become the secondary ratios. Now, coming to the classification according to time. So, classification on the basis of time. So, ratios are classified as structural ratios and trend ratios. Structural ratios are calculated from the data used for the computation of these ratios normally relate to the same point of time. Example, ratios of a particular month, quarter or year. In this sense, the balance sheet ratios and the income statement ratios of a particular year may be termed as structural ratios. So, now structural ratios are classified from the data relating to some point of time, say a particular accounting year. Now, coming to the trend ratio, these ratios are computed between items over a period of time and used for the analysis. For example, current ratios for a period of 10 years may be calculated, and the trend long-term changes observed from these ratios may be used for the analysis. So, trend ratios computed from the data relating to different periods of time. Now, coming to the classification on the basis of nature or usage. So, ratios, under this classification, ratios are grouped as liquidity ratio, leverage ratio, turnover or activity ratio, profitability ratio, etc. So, here ratios can be classified as ratios for management, ratios for creditors, ratios for trade holders. Ratios for management indicate efficiency of the management, that is operating ratio, stock turnover ratio. Ratios for creditors help in ascertaining the short term and long term solvency of the business undertaking. Example, current ratio, payables turnover ratio, debt equity ratio. Ratios for shareholders helps the shareholders in assessing the fruitfulness of their investment. Example, earnings per share, return on capital employed, etc. So like this, these are the classification on the basis of usage. This is the end of the topic.